So, you guys have been inside a bathroom, right? That place where you wash your hands, bathe, and answer the calls of nature? Well, what if I told you that every waking moment you spend inside, you put your life at risk that may even result in your own demise? Let's say you're home alone. Listen to this scenario. You're chilling on your bed, just living life, when you start to feel that familiar aching in your stomach. You gotta go drop a number 2. You enter the bathroom, remember to shut the door, you know, the usual. You're now just minding your business when suddenly the lights go out. You're now just sitting in darkness with nothing but the shine of the light coming from your phone. You decide to call your parents or roommate to tell them what's going on. But then you hear something outside the door, and it's getting closer. You immediately brief them on the current situation and hang up, intending to stay as quiet as a mouse. But it's too late, because it already heard you. Before you can even reach down to your pants to pull them back up, the door is being banged with such aggressive force, it doesn't want to be caught. Sure enough, it breaches the bathroom door. You're caught off guard, cornered, your pants are down, exposing an obvious weak point. You can barely see anything, but he can see you. You're in the most vulnerable position you've ever been. But little did you know, you always were, the second you shut that bathroom door. Okay, a scenario like this happening in real life is quite rare to say the least, but I mean, it's still possible. Heck, this isn't even the worst scenario that can happen. Just think about it. What if you were taking a shower? Today, I want to go over as to why we find bathrooms so scary and why they're actually very dangerous, at least to me. Get ready to listen to some borderline autistic yapping. Alright, so to start with, let's think as to why we would feel this way towards bathrooms in the first place. Think about what you do in a bathroom. Wash your hands, face, take a shower, and relieve yourself. But think what you have to do in order to engage in these activities. For the activities involving the sink, we usually leave ourselves distracted, focus on checking ourselves out, or having to close our eyes to clean ourselves. For the toilet and shower, we've got to strip ourselves, leaving our bodies vulnerable from all sorts of sides. Did you catch what I said? I said vulnerable. It's because it's in bathrooms where we are likely at our most vulnerable. Naturally, we feel insecure when we're, insecure. So yeah, we feel afraid of bathrooms because we feel or are typically vulnerable. So now that we know why we're afraid of bathrooms, let's go over the potential risks and why they're actually death traps in disguise. I already talked about the scenario in the beginning, so let's go over the other part of the bathroom you're most likely gonna die in. The shower. As I mentioned before, in order to take a shower or bath in general, you need to strip naked. Already, you're in a bad spot if someone were to kidnap you. You're naked, so you have zero protection for your body, and you're cornered. But there's more to it. What's typically your biggest fear when you're in a bathroom? Well, there are a bunch, but for a lot of people, and what we'll specifically be talking about for this video, is probably that someone would walk in, right? Of course, we don't want them seeing our private parts and stuff. That's likely the biggest worry and the biggest risk we have in our minds when using a bathroom. And that's just it. If someone were to intrude you while showering, assuming at least you're not expecting them, I doubt your immediate reaction would be to assume a combat stance. No, you would want to cover up. Also, we wouldn't immediately think it was an intruder or criminal, because when was the last time you had someone walk into you in the bathroom that wasn't a roommate, family member, or friend? So yeah, again, we wouldn't immediately think it was an intruder unless we knew about it prior, which is hard because sometimes you can't really hear that well in the shower and also the other stuff I mentioned. Like imagine the scenario on the toilet. You have a feeling you're in danger, so you might feel the need to act as soon as possible, but at the same time, you don't want to risk pissing and shitting everywhere because what if it's just your parents or something? Like, imagine having to explain that. Oh, but what if you're bathing in a bathtub? Yeah, well, you're still cornered, naked, and your reaction would be to cover up. Although, I suppose your chance of survival is better because you would be able to hear your surroundings. Probably. Okay, but what if we aren't expecting them, hear the door open, and at that point, know it's an intruder? Well, hope you can think quickly and know how to fight because you're basically done unless they decide to spare you. Because why else would they deliberately enter a bathroom in use? So that's how bathrooms are basically psychological death traps, but how can we defend ourselves if we are expecting an intruder? Let's start with something passive. So typically, intruders and burglars don't actually want to harm you. Their goal is likely just money or something, and if that's the case, they don't want to cause trouble that may get them caught by anyone or the police. So I think one of the best courses of action is to make it seem like you aren't even aware they're there. Try playing really loud music or just something really loud and make it seem like to them that you're just busy showering or taking a dump and can't hear what's going on outside. They know their time is limited, so it'll cause them to rush. Your belongings may still be getting stolen, but because they're in a hurry and frantic, they probably won't take as much stuff as they would if they knew you weren't home. Also, you should remain unharmed, which at the end of the day is the most important thing. Alright, but what if they do mean harm? You're gonna need to fight back. Obviously you have your fists, but sometimes that won't be enough. I recommend taking off the lid to the upper tank of your toilet. It's blunt and unexpected. You can also pull off the metal bar, hanging your shower curtains if you have those, or rip off the toilet seat. Or, as suggested by my friend who I showed my script to, coat your fist in your poop and aim for their face. This will blind, surprise, and force him to visit a doctor to take care of the pink eye infection. In his words, weaponize your shit. Last but not the least, if none of these options are available to you, then, well, remember, you still have your... I allow all counter-arguments to the statements I made in this video because a lot of it isn't meant to be taken seriously. But for real, thank you all so much for watching / listening to my autistic yapping. I hope this video served as a good introduction to what one of the sides of my personality is like, because if you watch the channel intro video, you'll know that'll be quite important. Anyways, I'm glad you guys enjoyed my first real video on the channel. It really means a lot to me. I don't know when the next video is gonna be, but I'll really try to get it out as soon as possible. Again, thanks for watching, hello and goodbye.